So how's everybody doing today? My name is Farrell. I'm the account executive here at Zerto covering Massachusetts. I've been at Zerto for about 5 years now. So as Ron just stated, right, there's been a lot of changes on our end. We were acquired by HPE back in, I think the official start date was December. So now official HPE employees, happy to be under that umbrella, right? Now working for a large Fortune, we call it 105 company. So we have a lot more resources at our hands. Just to kind of kick it off here, who we are, right? What we do. So that's kind of a loaded thing to say. Zerto, we do a lot of different stuff, right? We, as you see here, protect, recover, and move data and applications with continuous availability across on-premise, hybrid, and multi-cloud environments. We'll kind of get into kind of where we fit in the overall landscape of DR, data protection, backup, and how we might differentiate from those traditional backup-based solutions that every organization uses today. Zerto, we've actually been in the market for about 13 years now. As I just stated, right, we're officially part of the HPE umbrella. We're 100% channel sold. We work with over 1,500 partners. We have some partners here today that I saw were sponsoring the event: Microsoft, Amazon. We work with managed service providers, right? We integrate really well with a lot of the partners that you'll see here globally. We have over 9,500 customers today. That's continuing to grow. We're seeing some of our, we've had some really good growth here in the last couple of quarters, in the last year or so. So continuing to scale out. We're in over 100 companies, right? We're actually dually headquartered in both. We're right in the seaport in Boston, and then we actually have a lot of our development in Tel Aviv, Israel. So to kick it off, right, I mean, you're going to hear this is probably going to be a general theme with everybody that's going to be presenting here today, right? Talking about what some of the top challenges are, and to kick it off, right, I mean, the biggest one that's top of mind, everybody we're talking to, is really focusing surrounding ransomware recovery, ransomware resilience, right? A lot, again, what you're going to hear from the analysts, et cetera, right? It's not a matter of if, but when you're going to get hit with ransomware, and how do you recover from that attack, right? As we've seen in the news, right? These malicious attacks have been going after critical infrastructure, right? Hospitals, without naming some of the customers, right? Payroll softwares, et cetera, right? They're attacking stuff that affects your bottom line, right? And you see here, it's $265 billion will be paid out from ransomware by the year 2031. We'll talk about how Zerto can really help you become resilient from a ransomware perspective, right? We're not going to be the company that stops the ransomware, but we're going to give you the ability to recover right before the ransomware or malicious attack happen to a clean state of your business to really ensure true business continuity. To kind of get into that next point, right? Unplanned and planned disruptions. See that stat, 63% of organizations have suffered a disruption, right? And I'll talk about it here in the next slide. Unplanned and planned disruptions can range anything from human error, ransomware, natural disasters, to moving to the cloud, right? Those planned outages, DR tests, et cetera, right? And Zerto's can really make your life easier from both the unplanned and planned side of things. And then to kind of get into the next point, right? Cloud complexity. You see here the stat, 100 zettabytes of cloud data by 2025, right? Every enterprise organization that we're talking to on a daily basis, right, has some type of cloud strategy. They have some plans to move to the cloud if they're not already there, right? And we talk to a lot of people and we ask them, why do you want to move to the cloud? How do you move to the cloud? What do you want to do in the cloud, right? So we'll talk about where Zerto kind of fits into the overall landscape from a protection standpoint, and also a resiliency and data mobility standpoint. But just understand that we'll allow you to future-proof your environment. We'll allow you to get to the cloud easier and then protect in the cloud after the fact. Kind of what I just alluded to, right? We see these two, kind of break it down into unplanned outages and planned outages, right? The ransomware recovery, how do you get back online if you do get hit with ransomware, right? How do you ensure the bottom line of your business isn't going to be affected by being out for 24 hours or 48 hours, right? That's really where Zerto comes into play. We're going to get you back up and running within a sub 10, 15-minute time frame compared to traditional backup and recovery solutions where you're looking at maybe 24 hours or 48 hours. Then you have the natural disasters, right? Moving away from ransomware. This is obviously really relevant for anybody that's kind of on the coast, right? I mean, a lot of we have some really strong customers in the Southeast because of tornadoes, natural disasters such as hurricanes, et cetera, right? What happens in those God forbid events if a hurricane rips through and takes down your data center? Or it could be something just as simple as a power outage, right? Data center gets flooded. How do you guys recover? How long does it take to recover? And what type of data loss exposure are you guys going to incur if that God forbid event were to happen? And kind of seeing here, right, we also help in the areas of traditional backup and long-term retention. We can target long-term retention repositories. I know we've got a friend, Don, over here. We were talking earlier. You can target somebody like Cetera or another NAS device or an NFS device. We can do that. And then also the multi-cloud mobility piece, right? Data center consolidations, right? Mergers and acquisition. We can help you guys streamline that process and really see minimal downtime with no production impact. I always like to show this slide when talking to customers because one of the big selling points of Zerto, right, is the agnostic functionality of the solution, right? Yes, we were purchased by HPE. Our counterparts at HPE always want us to be working with HPE storage vendors, et cetera. But I'm here to tell you, right, we are 100% storage agnostic. We live in the hypervisor layer, right? So anything that's virtualized on a VMware stack or Hyper-V, or if you guys put workloads up in the cloud, Zerto doesn't care, right? We're 100% software. I'll talk about the architecture briefly here in a second, but we really don't care where it sits, right? So that's what makes the tool nice, right? We understand that organizations' future strategies in terms of technology is always changing, and the nice piece with Zerto is it's 100% storage agnostic. We work with multiple hypervisors, and as you see here, right, all of our vendors on the bottom that we integrate really closely with, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, et cetera. And we've also actually recently dipped our toes into the Kubernetes and containers workspace as well, right? So protecting that structured data in a Kubernetes cloud, and you can see some of the providers that we work with here as well. And the piece, right, I mean, Zerto's bread and butter, as we've been in business, is always going to be disaster recovery and continuous data protection, right? That's what our company was built on. That's our number one use case, right? And where we differentiate from, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Veeams of the world or the Commvaults or the SAN-based backups and replications, is that all of this is going to be done without the use of snapshotting technology, right? Which is why we see customers reducing their data loss exposure, right? If you're taking a snapshot every 24 hours, that your data loss exposure could be that 24 hours, right? And sometimes that doesn't mean anything to a business, but when you're talking to like a Fidelity or you're talking to a financial organization, obviously data loss means everything for these guys, right? That could cost the business a lot of money. And that also directly correlates to downtime, right? So what happens if there was a God forbid event? How long would it take you guys to be back up and running, right? What's your hourly cost of downtime? And that's where Zerto comes into play. We're going to get you back up and running with, right, like I said, sub 10 minutes of downtime. And when you're looking at a data loss side of things, you're looking at 3 to 5 seconds worth of data loss if there were to be a malicious attack or just an event. Like I said, we work with all these providers. We have all these functionalities, right? Migration. So if you guys are moving workloads site to site or moving workloads to the cloud, we offer that all within the same license, right? You see the little square box here. Everything within Zerto is done from a single pane of glass, a single license, no additional cost, right? So we allow you to test your recovery process. We allow you to test migrations, right? This also which also really helps from a security and compliance standpoint as well. To kind of talk about how we do things a little bit different than our competitors, right? I'm not going to dig too much into the tech of the environment, but we have a couple components, right? We have the Zerto Virtual Manager, which is the GUI, the user interface that controls everything in your DR process, right? Every use case I just talked about is going to be controlled within that. We call it a ZVM. It's the user interface. You're going to be managing your failover operations, your failback operations, right? So what happens when you guys do declare disaster and fail over to the target site? How do we get back, right? That's a lot of the business pain that we talk to with a lot of our customers, is that they have a solution that can get them to their DR location, but how do we get back when business is at a clean state? So all of that's going to be managed within a Windows VM that plugs into the vCenter or System Center in Hyper-V. And the real piece to focus on here today is the data mover, right, of the solution, what we call a virtual replication appliance, right? This is the worker bee, and this is how we differentiate from those traditional backup-based solutions. So essentially what Zerto does is every time a change happens in your environment, we're seeing that change and replicating it in real time every 3 to 5 seconds, and storing it at a target site of your choice, right? That could be a DR location, that could be the cloud, that could be multi-cloud. You can protect and replicate a single VM up to 3 target locations with our one-to-many functionality. So the bread and butter of it is, in kind of getting ahead of myself here, is the journaling technology, right? So every time we see that change in the hypervisor, right, we're not taking any snapshots. Oops. We're storing that change at the DR location or in the cloud 3 seconds apart and giving you checkpoints where you can recover from. So kind of talking about how you can apply this to your business, right? If, let's say, your production site, and most organizations have a production site, a DR site, some type of cloud presence. What happens if that production site were to get hit with ransomware today at noon, right? We ask that to a lot of our customers, and they're like, well, we would be really screwed, right? We don't have any, we have some ransomware detection tools, et cetera, but we understand these are really complex attacks, and they get through that sometimes, right? So how do you guys recover if you guys were to get hit? Well, with Zerto, right, we're not going to stop the ransomware. We're going to give you a checkpoint just seconds before and a clean state of business to recover 5 seconds before. So hits today at noon, you go to the DR site or in the cloud, and you'll have all your data up to date, right? 3 to 5 seconds before the ransomware attack were to hit. You can go to 11:59 and 55 seconds. You'll select a point in time at the DR site or in the cloud. That's not going to be affected by the ransomware. Fail over from that point in time, right? And we're going to handle all of the automation in the background, right? We'll handle things like re-IPing, networking. If you talk to any Zerto customers, the biggest thing that you'll hear is, right, the simplicity and ease of use. It's legitimately 4 clicks to fail over, 4 clicks to fail back. And this journaling technology is really the bread and butter of the solution. And the nice piece is you can be as broad or as granular with these recoveries as you want, right? We can help you guys recover the entire protected environment, right? So we license on a per VM level, but you guys could recover things just like file and folders seconds before they were deleted, specific applications, specific VMs. It's really up to you based on the broadness or the granularity of the attack or the outage. And then the other piece is the cloud, right? I mean, cloud is such a big thing that we're all such a big aspect of IT and kind of overall business operations that we're seeing a lot of people moving to the cloud or using the cloud as a DR site, right? The nice piece with Zerto is again, we're agnostic from all these cloud standpoints, and we can help you guys get to the cloud, right? If you guys want to do a lift and shift and move your entire data center to reduce on-prem costs to the cloud, we can help you migrate those workloads up to the cloud. And then we can actually help you protect after the fact, right? So we can provide that workload mobility tool as well as the protection after the fact. And again, Azure, AWS, Kubernetes, et cetera, right? It's all the same license. It's all the same mechanisms. How we deliver value, right? We see here some of our bigger customers, right? Tecate, they actually were hit with a ransomware attack prior to owning Zerto. They were down for 48 hours, which in return cost the business $200,000, right? So They were also hit with Zerto or ransomware after the fact. They were back up and running within 10 minutes. Obviously, the downtime exposure was a lot less significant, which caused a lot less impact to the business bottom line. And they're only looking at 10 seconds worth of data loss. United Airlines is one of our biggest flagship customers as well, right? The United application is protected with Zerto today. They've had outages and have been able to fail over into the cloud really quickly with an automated feature set, and they're a really happy customer. HCA, right? They reduced a lot of their, they were using 4 different solutions for DR and backup, and they reduced that to 1 with Zerto, right? Which overall saved them $10 million, right? We talked to a lot of customers that they can do all of these things, right? They can do data protection, they can do workload mobility, they can move to the cloud, right? But they are paying for all these different service contracts and managing all these different tools, which just causes complexity. Where Zerto can come in and do it from a single pane of glass, cutting back on things like total cost of ownership, et cetera. And then you see the mergers and acquisition use case as well, right? XPO has consolidated 21 data centers down to only 6 in 36 months. And then just to talk about how Zerto works at scale, this is an enterprise class software, right? We work with customers that are protecting anywhere up to 10,000 VMs and workloads, all the way down to 15 VMs. But you'll see here how we work at scale, right? United Airlines is protecting over 4,000 VMs and has an 8-second RPO. Fortune 10 company, 12,000 with a 9-second RPO. Jack Henry, 2,000. 6-second RPO, right? And you get it, right? We work really well at scale. That's not going to change per environment, right? We're an enterprise class software, and again, the biggest thing with Zerto, right, is that you're gonna really ensure business uptime while reducing data loss exposure, no matter the event, planned or unplanned. And I appreciate your guys' time. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and appreciate you guys listening in.